did I think about The Dark Knight Rises? Well, let me just start off with saying that I thought Batman Begins and The Dark Knight were really good films. Batman Begins specifically for the fact that it was a dark, gritty, atmospheric film that respected the Batman character and his inner turmoils, and The Dark Knight mainly because it had Heath Ledger. But what can be said about The Dark Knight Rises? Well, if I could sum up my feelings on the film, it would mainly be summed up by the word curiosity. Curiosity as to why, for example, the filmmakers didn't go for humans to edit the film and instead went for brain-damaged troglodyte Neanderthals who get a kick out of seeing people leap through time-space. Curiosity as to why the writers decided to randomly cram half a dozen fucking plot points on uninteresting characters into every split second of the film. But mainly curiosity as to why Sean Connery decided to cameo the voice for the villain.
When Gotham is in ashes, you have my permission to die, Batman.
Not bad. This film was a mess. There's no other way to describe it. This film was just a huge fucking mess. Between the erratic, choppy editing and the sloppy storytelling, it just felt... it was a mess. Forgive my tiny vocabulary, but this was a messy mess of a messy film. By the time we got to the third film, it's become a little bit, actually a lot more apparent just how problematic Nolan's style is when it comes to making these films. Again, forgivable in the first two because there was enough passion and effort and standards that went into them that you could sort of forgive them. They ended up being really good films. But when the third one is this phoned in and this lazy, it's pretty much a film dedicated to showing you just how problematic Nolan's style is. It's become blatantly clear just how forced and over-plotted the writing for these films whatever. And how they're written in a way that the editor is just not up to the challenge. I am so sick of climaxes being broken down into 500 consecutive 5-second scenes, forcing you to have to remember 30 different locations. It's very clunky, pretentious filmmaking, and it just completely robs the film of all flow and immersion. It's just not good. Again, it's messy. I mean, it's not just that. Overall, the writing was just sloppy. There's too many plot holes. There's too many lapses in logic. There's just too many bad decisions on the part of the characters, on a part of the story. Let's not mention the writers. A multitude of uninteresting subplots just squished together, told 90% through clunky exposition, 10% through what the fuck, and a whole backstory told through hallucination based on the notion that that little dude was really a little chick. Alright, let's move on to the acting. What did I think about the ensemble? Anne Hathaway. In general, I was not a fan of her casting simply because while she's cute, she's attractive, she's just not over-the-top sexy enough to play the Catwoman character. Maybe I played too much Arkham City, I don't know. But even though I didn't like her casting for that reason alone, generally I actually thought her acting was pretty good in this. She was probably one of the better things and better aspects of the film. Tom Hardy, again, I made fun of his, Sean Connery voice, but it only cropped up momentarily every now and then. Generally, I actually kind of like the voice. You expect a sort of cliche, brutal strongman voice when you see him, when you see this 250-pound muscle man, and it was very different. It kind of threw me for a loop. It was sophisticated and elegant. It was unique. It was strange, and it was unexpected, and I sort of liked that. As for Christian Bale, you're probably asking, did his voice change? Did he improve his voice? Only one way I can answer that. No. Oh yeah, and Gary Oldman. He was okay for the 5 minutes of material that was given to him, I guess. Which is sad because I really liked him in the first two. But on top of that, the actual music itself is kind of an interesting turn from the normal Zimmerman crap you get in the first two. And on top of that, the fighting itself wasn't great, but it wasn't too bad. I mean, the 1-on-30 kind of fight that you get in this series was, the usual Nolan fare, but the 1-on-1 Bane Batman fights are actually pretty decent, if somewhat generic. So, how do I sum up my feelings of The Dark Knight Rises? Years ago, when I was in grade 11, Christopher Nolan responded to the Batman lore's cry for help after the miserable Batman and Robin with a solid representation of the character called Batman Begins. He continued his success with The Dark Knight, starring Heath Ledger, who gave a phenomenal performance. He then continues to finish his success by making Batman Rise to star in a completely unlikable, unwatchable, badly written, badly edited, and badly made piece of cinematic dog feces. I am TheReccher. Over and out.